Bills Mafia. I know y'all standing up. My boy, my coworker, Mike Robb.
I'm Rob.
He is the president of the Bills Mafia. I got to ask you this question, and I got to ask you, James. Are you okay with allowing the last couple of teams to score 40-plus points? You lose one game, and you win one game. I don't know if you could keep allowing teams to keep making some of these mistakes where you miss a field goal, they miss a field goal. They make that field goal, man, things are different. So I'm a little weary in trying to figure out, how are you okay with letting the Los Angeles Rams, who are no cakewalk,
No, good offense.
score 40-something points, and the Detroit Lions score 40-something points? And here's a note I wrote with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson calls his offensive plays like he's losing every game. LOL.
He is going after it.
Right? He's like, oh, we're down by 100. This play's going to get us back in. And guess what? It damn works. Oh, my goodness gracious.
You can't give up 86 points in 2 games and expect to win a Super Bowl.
Bro, that's tough.
And the reason I say it that way is that is their aspiration. That is their goal. They fall short of that this season, in my opinion, and Buffalo's probably considered a disappointment because of the way that Josh Allen has played, because of the way this offense has played. And by the way, let's give him a little credit here before we kind of figure out this defense. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year offensively.
Oh, really?
We got rid of Stephon Diggs. We got rid of a lot of guys on defense. We had cap issues, right? Josh Allen's contract's kicking in. We got to make some business decisions. There's some guys we wish we could have kept, but we got to release some guys. We're flipping the roster in terms of money. They're incredible on offense.
Yes, they are.
And it's been really, really fun to watch Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, over the last 7 quarters, 670 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, 6 running touchdowns, 0 interceptions, no giveaways, no sacks, his ability to make everything. I have to go ahead and say he is turning out to be the league MVP. Here's why. At the end of the year is when you start to leave and remind people of who you are. Mm-hmm. And Josh Allen is showing people that he has put this whole offense, not a baby grand, a full old grand piano on his back.
A Steinway, if you will.
He's put a Steinway on his back and started going because it is bananas. The way he's taken over games, his performance.
He hasn't taken a sack during this stretch.
Crazy.
That's the part that stands out to me the most. Because a lot of times he's holding on to the ball. He's figuring out a way to make something happen, and he still can't get sacked. And he hasn't been sacked in like a month. It's unbelievable. So with the defensive side of the ball, I agree. You can't give up 86 points in 2 weeks and expect yourself to say, yeah, we're going to be a Super Bowl team. There's only one team that has won a Super Bowl, Steve, ever, that has given up a 2-game stretch like that. I think it was the Giants.
Ooh.
The Giants, they gave up 87 in a back-to-back week. It usually doesn't happen with teams that want to have these, but most offenses can't put up the numbers that they're putting up. To me, what stood out over these 2 weeks, and tell me what you think, they rely on clutch plays as a defense. They rely on big plays. They rely on making big plays in big moments, and they rely on turnovers. Mm-hmm. The Rams game is the only game this season they didn't force a turnover. They have the highest turnover differential in the league. I think it's like plus, I wrote it down, like plus 18.
Wow.
So Josh doesn't turn the ball over, that's the other part. But these turnovers have aided a defense throughout the season. I think that part, do you want to go into the postseason relying on getting multiple turnovers a game? That's hard to do, especially in the postseason.
Obviously, the Lions are struggling with getting pressure, so that exposed their secondary. However, the Lions did a great job. Ben Johnson did a great job exposing the Buffalo Bills secondary. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Bobby Bavich, who's doing a great job. But I was in Carolina with Bobby, or he was the secondaries coach, and Bobby knows he needs to hunker things down because you cannot go into the playoffs allowing that much yardage to where these offenses, right? Who are we talking about too into the postseason? We're not talking about, right, the Detroit Lions, and I'm saying the Detroit Lions aren't one, or the Rams aren't one of 2 teams where they had a good day. You're talking about you're going to have to go in the playoffs.
Here, let's look at the AFC competition that they'll have on their way to the Super Bowl. Do you think the way the Texans' offense has played this season, that's a major concern for Buffalo's defense? They're not playing like Detroit as an offense.
No.
Kansas City's not playing like Detroit as an offense.
No.
Pittsburgh's not playing like Detroit as an offense.
No.
The Ravens. I think the Ravens are probably their most difficult matchup in the postseason in the AFC. That will stress this defense the most. That's my point.
Yes, they'll stress the defense the most. But then also, will the defense stretch this offense? So they were having these explosive plays and Josh Allen getting out of the pocket. You can't sit here and tell me that Chris Jones is not going to get penetration.
True.
And get
I don't know. This
outside.
Bills
You're
offensive lines play well, Steve. We just mentioned
They
those
have
sacks.
played
They're
well.
unsung group probably in this Bills' success.
I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying, because you're saying there are flaws to the Rams defense.
Yeah,
there are flaws,
there's
obviously,
flaws to
because
the Rams
everybody's
defense.
hurt because of Detroit's defense. I get what you're saying, that you can put up these points because of the way those defenses are, and you're not going to face those defenses in the postseason.
You just can't sit here and say that this man is going to, keep going on this 400 or 500.
I get that. I get that.
He may, but here's my question: what happens if he doesn't?
What's going on? James Palmer here, and let's get real for a second. You see the underdog graphics flying in and out of the show 89 with Steve Smith and myself. Well, you're probably wondering, what are these? Well, what they are is it gives you an opportunity to participate, to start playing. You can use the promo code UD89. You can scan the QR code and you can start playing instantly. Dive right in and you can win $1,000 bonus cash like that. You just got to pick higher or lower. So remember, scan that QR code. Use that promo code UD89. What we do here at 89, we give you analysis, we give you breakdowns, we give you the news. We love that you're here. We love that you're watching us and hanging out with us. But now, when you do this, you get an opportunity to find out if we actually know what we're talking about.
What happens if who's playing out of his mind? I think he's right now leading the league with pressures. I think he had 9 pressures, 10 pressures in the game. Ed Oliver. Looking like that
10
kid
pressures in there.
out of 10 pressures. He was bananas, but let's be honest. What happens if maybe he can't get that many pressures? If those pressures are cut in half in the game, that means that's an extra first down. That means that's an extra explosive play. Because that secondary, they're sitting in his own coverage. They're playing man-to-man.
Yeah, and Stafford picked it apart. And I don't know if anybody else can beat zones the way Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp can.
I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying that.
I get exactly what you're saying, and it makes sense.
Yeah,
but
I'm just saying it's tough.
It is. I would say the other side of the coin is this. Like, I know that they had to abandon the run. I know the Lions had to abandon the run with the way the game had gotten out of hand. But they still only rushed for what? Like 41 yards, 31 yards? They averaged 2.7 yards a carry. So my point is, if you can play well up front to stop teams running the football, what does that do for Josh Allen and your offense? It limits the amount of time the other team can keep him off the field.
It can slow you down.
To me, yeah, because teams are going to they're seeing what's happening with Josh Allen. They're going to want to run the football and keep Josh Allen off the field and try to keep their offense on the field. So if the Bills can stop, exactly. So if the Bills can stop the run, which they have oftentimes this season.
Yes.
And they did a decent job against a Detroit team that runs the ball well. And again, yes, I know they had to abandon the run. That, to me, alleviates a little bit of the concern, because then your Superman will get back on the field if teams can't run the ball against you.
Correct.
But yeah, I think there is cause for some concern when you go up 86 points in 2 games.
A little bit.
Jared Goff went for what? Over 400, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Yeah. And your Moya Monroe St. Brown went off. So, yeah, there's a lot to handle. But there's a lot of fun in Buffalo, too. So.
It was a great game, though. I watched it twice.
Did you really?
Yeah, I watched it twice.
Were you surprised about the outcome the second time?
It was remarkable just to see us, like, bro, like the buildup. It was like, no way. And it just, because it was just slow build. And then it was just like, pow. It just... The dam broke, and it was just like scoring. It was great. They almost got the onside kick.
They almost did. And I guess this is my last point. They played well the defense played well at the beginning of the game. And if Josh Allen and this offense is going to come out of the gates the way they have in these last several weeks, to score as quickly as they do and as often as they do, say first quarter early, the defense almost is like, if we can get our stops early, games are altered.
Yes.
But we're all saying these different things, and things change in the postseason. But yeah, it'll be an interesting group to watch with the way Josh Allen's playing. Because the last thing I think everybody wants, specifically Bills Mafia, Steve, is for Josh Allen to play like this in the postseason and they get eliminated. I was standing there in Kansas City when Josh Allen did ungodly things. It was unbelievable what he was able to do, and he ends up losing. I think that's the last thing the Bills Mafia wants again, is that Josh Allen has a performance like he's been having in the postseason and their season ends.
True.